Hello, my name is Mitch, and I draw Blood Force, and we're here now looking at Brigade number 3. So we're wrapping up the Blood Brothers crossover. Don't cry because it happened, smile because it's over. But if you enjoy the channel or you'd like to support me as an artist, what you can do, you can open up the description and go to the link there that takes you to my Patreon. If you subscribe there, that will give you access to all these videos before they get dropped on YouTube, usually a week or so in advance. That also gives you access to the Blood Force comics. So both completed ones, as well as every page of the third one that I'm working on now, and any behind the scenes or exclusive stuff. Also, if you were to go over to my Instagram, my commissions are now open. So let's get to Brigade number 3. So we'll start off. This one is also dated September of 1993. I assume because Bloodstrike was as well, so they have to wait for part 4 to drop before they drop part 5. Although that didn't exactly stop them from dropping Volume 2, Issue 1 before, and Issue 2 before Volume 1, Issue 4 came out. But, you know, I guess that's all in the past. So let's get to this cover here. The drawing looks pretty great. The color scheme is ass. This is fucking horrible. But, no, the drawing is pretty good. And you see why as soon as you get to the signature here. Murat Perez. That's an odd mashup. But I take it this is, judging by the structures, I would say that's Murat inked by George. Might be the other way around. That would be my guess. Anyway, the end result is a better Murat cover than usual. So that's something. And this is the finale. So let's get into it. There's been so much ground covered already. Because really, what's happened so far? Issue 1 started strong with Brigade number 1. Kill Stasis. Brigade gets attacked by Bloodstrike, and they escape. Cold Snap and KO get captured by Bloodstrike. Battlestone takes Cold Snap and Stasis's body to Gate Industries to resurrect Stasis. You know, there is stuff going on, and then that was all they had. From there, Seahawk busts out of the Bloodstrike HQ. Bloodstrike attacks Brigade again. And then when Bloodstrike is beating Brigade, Seahawk and Lethal act as cavalry. And that's really all we've had. And if we're to look in the credits here, this is pretty much the same bunch of characters that we had before. You look at the pages, though, and something's missing. I'm not sure what. It feels like a little bit of everything. Part of it is that I think Murat has stopped applying a bunch of shadow to everything, which he was doing in Issue 1, and I think to a lesser extent in Issue 2. Part of it is that the ink looks weaker. No, Norm Rapman did ink Issue 1, and the color looks terrible. It all looks washed out. There's no attempt at textures. No, this is... So either this took forever to do, or Murat is feeling comfortable. And we're going to start off, of course, with a quick recap. How else would you start off one of these? Oh, and also we've got technical assistant Tim Townsend on this. So Richard Horry wasn't available, but we'll look out for some different kind of tech. I think we've got a good handle on what Merritt can draw these days. So whatever stands out from there. So for instance, this all looks like Murat stuff. Murat. Okay, now we're just like finding tweener pronunciations. Okay, so starting off here, and Cabot orders Shogun to shoot Stasis's tank. And Battlestone replies by tackling Cabot, which seems inefficient. And oh, there's all sorts of weird shit going on here. He couldn't handle that angle. And so Shogun does shoot Stasis's tank. Stasis goes back to her 60-foot tall. Well, this is like in between, or she's going back. You know what? When they killed Atlas, they needed somebody who could grow to 60 feet. And Stasis just seemed like the next most viable option, I suppose, because she didn't have anything else going on. Thinking about it, we have two characters on different teams who can both do like freeze power stuff, like freeze people in place with Tag and Stasis. They should have fought each other. Why'd they kill her right away? That was dumb. But Battlestone is now shocked that by tackling Cabot, that didn't stop Shogun from shooting Stasis' pod. Yeah, these colors are terrible. And then all the action stops for a second. Because Battlestone all of a sudden cares about Stasis. And then, or maybe he just needed an excuse to throw a stick. I think that's probably the case. And I haven't seen any traces of tech yet. We're just seeing Merritt barely, paying lip service to backgrounds here. The fuck is that? Is that fog? It looks like it's supposed to be the back to tank goo, but that is not, those are some pretty bad puddles, but whatever. And of course, we've got the Peter David, Todd McFarlane debate coming up soon. I think you can tell who you're supposed to be rooting for with the J. Scott Campbell goofy caricature of Todd and the, as Peter David described it, Jabba the Hutt looking caricature of him by Todd. And I have seen, I think I've read the transcript on that, and I've seen bits of the video. It's hard to actually watch. But yeah, that did not go in Todd's favor, I have to say. And one of the reasons was that Peter David prepared by practicing debating with his friends and researching topics that he thought might come up and sort of trying to predict arguments, that sort of thing, or, like counterpoints. And Todd prepared by buying a pair of shiny shorts and a shiny house coat and a boombox and coming up like the champ is here. And then after that, he didn't have anything. He just kind of went through his Todd rhetoric of like, I'm a kooky guy and I shoot my mouth off sometimes, but really I got a good heart and really I make a lot of fucking money. And that's all he's got. So, where were we? Battlestone threw a stick and clocked Cabot in the mouth. You know what? I mean, this is one pussy fucking crossover. Considering most of the people involved in this are dead, there should be some hardcore shit going on in this. We got a little bit with the Seahawk battle where he stabs Cabot, right? That's kind of it. Like, this should be like sticking out of his chest now. People should be walking around with like an arm blown off. And then, yeah, they all just start fighting again. And you realize that's all this whole thing has been. They're with a brief pause to pick up new people to fight, like Boone and Lethal. And this is all supposed to be one panel, by the looks of it here. And none of this makes any kind of fucking sense. If you'd angled it up, that would make a bit more sense for the thermal versus tag spot. I don't know here. But angling it up, yeah, that would have been pretty good. But no, this is all pretty bad. And again, Paul Mounts has no interest in this by the looks of it. I don't blame him. Okay, so we're going to keep getting Cold Snap versus Shogun, because we need big guys to fight Shogun. And apparently, Cold Snap does still have his Freezy powers. So he is an ice giant with Freezy powers, which seems to make him pretty overpowered. And I believe this is Shogun, and he's just, not only is his armor frozen, his face is frozen as well. Just, making Three Stooges noises. That's almost an okay shot of Seahawk here, except for just how bulbous all this area looks. But aside from that, not too bad. And you see, this is about all they've got in terms of fights. Somebody takes a swing at somebody. Like, I don't even know what happened here. It kind of looks like he snatched him out of the air and threw him. That'd be okay. And then somebody comes to the rescue. And that's all they can think of. And what happened here? Who fucking knows? She does a weird-ass fucking Tai Chi pose, and he gets yoinked like he was on fucking wires. And, I keep forgetting to check the dialogue. Because, whoever thought to read the dialogue in a Brigade comic? But you got, get bent deadlock, or better yet, get lost. Does that even qualify as dialogue? Now we got, and the line here is just like, what? My arm, frozen stiff. Hope you're comfortable there, pal. In a couple of seconds, your arm ain't the only thing that's going to be frozen stiff. Which sounds like a double entendre. I'm thinking that's not the case. And then we get Seahawk and Lethal. And what is it? You okay? Yeah, but I'll feel a hell of a lot better once I've beaten the daylights out of these creeps. What are we waiting for, kid? Let's go. Wow, like they can't think of anything to fill these word balloons. This is kind of like why I do stupid shit in Blood Force with the word balloons, because nobody's reading the word balloons. Not even like editors or the guy who's writing. He's just putting fucking random words down. Like the most cliched thing he can think of. I might as well just put fucking jokes in those word balloons. And more just weak fights. Things aren't going to turn out like they did last time. This time I'm in control. And he looks fucking horrified. And again, she kind of strikes a pose and he gets yanked like he's on wires. There's no indication of impact. And then he manifests a gun. And she does a weird fucking combat roll. Yeah, this is all some pretty fucking weak sauce. You know, we've got fights with no real impact. We've got people yelling things. Maybe that's almost kind of realistic, where you can't think in a fight. So you're just going to yell the first thing that comes to mind, which is like Arnold cliches. And then he's going to shoot foreplay and Tag freezes him because that's all they can think to do with her. Where somebody's about to attack one of the Bloodstrike guys and Tag just kind of appears out of nowhere and freezes him. And then we get Say Your Prayers. Because it's been 2 issues, I think. Can't go that long without a Say Your Prayers. I don't know if they can ever top Battlestone saying Say Your Prayers to an alien. But I like that they're trying to keep the dream alive. And then another fucking cavalry, and this time it's KO, who thankfully cannot speak. He goes, and that weird fucking homeless guy who keeps hanging out by their sea shack shows up with some cable guns. Some fairly involved looking cable guns. This might be some Tin Townsend stuff. I'm not for sure. And we find out that... Oh, what happened here? A hacker found him on Bloodstrike's ship after all the fireworks started. We haven't seen Hacker since, I think, Bloodstrike issue 2, a little bit. The Bloodstrike ship should be at Bloodstrike HQ, because Foreplay rode in on Shogun, and everybody else teleported in by Rome. So did he break in to Bloodstrike's ship in their HQ? Which is, I believe, a government installation, right? I don't know. That's not a terrible face for Merritt. And now they have the numbers. They do have quite a few people here now. And this is Merritt trying a big team shot with a kind of a tiny panel for it. You think you'd save a full page for that. Or most of one. But you spent it all on this shit. So Shogun is completely frozen now. So he's useless. Although his hands seem to be unfrozen. So can't he shoot stuff at the ceiling until the gun barrels melt shit? And Battlestone and Cabot are still fighting. Again, this is taking too long. Rest of the team starting to break down. Need to end this now. And he bitch slaps him. And all of a sudden, again, manifests a giant cable gun. And he goes, now we can really get down to business. Where does eyes go? That's unfortunate. That's not kind of a fun shot. You got to point them out because there's maybe 3 in this whole issue. And shoots at him, no bullet holes, even though Battlestone's dead. And Cabot stands over him and goes, I want you on your feet when I deal out the final humiliating blow. I want you to... I'm always going to be there to trip you up. Always, that is, until now. Which sounds like I'm done being there to trip you up. I know, I'm going to kill you now. But it doesn't... It just sounds like I'm giving up. You won. Good job. And weird shading. I think Merritt just did not want to draw Cabot's ass. Because that's maybe the one part that shouldn't be in shadow. Like, maybe underneath, sure, but not the top. And then Battlestone does a combat roll, which completely confuses Cabot here. And pulls a knife out of nowhere. And slashes him. Which produces blood. And if we recall from Brigade number 3, Battlestone was surprised when a cut produced blood. So that shouldn't happen. Does he throw him? No, he goes in. This is kind of a fun shot. And get a fair amount of detail in this arm. That's okay. And I guess Brigade are winning now because Battlestone's willing to let Cabot live if he calls off his dogs and gets them out of here. So I guess Brigade have won. They do have... Well, they did have the numbers, right? There was no indication that they'd really started losing, but whatever. And slashes his face, produces blood, which shouldn't happen. And so this is what ends the conflict here, where Battlestone says, if you don't back off, I will spill all the secrets about Project Born Again. Which is why they're there? Is to kill him so that he doesn't spill the secrets? So, as far as I can tell, it was just a bad idea to hire Bloodstrike for this. They're not good at this job. The first thing they had to do, they couldn't do it. So, oh well. And this is an interesting composition choice. This is Thermal pondering things while her hair... I don't know, just like fades out into the distance. She doesn't even have very long hair, does she? It's a little long, but okay. Not quite like that. And again, she looks like some weird kind of cat lady creature. And again, these colors are just terrible. Where's Brian Murray? At least he would have been having a good time. And there's no reasoning behind anything here. It feels like Battlestone just doesn't want to kill people so that he can get in fights later on and then bemoan his fate for constantly being in fights. You know, why don't you just kill me and get it over with? Because I don't need to. Besides, worst thing I could do is let you live. Sounds an awful lot like what he said to Genocide before Genocide killed Atlas. And I mean, he's already killed fucking Stasis, so yeah, you know, there's no reason behind anything. And I think this has got to be some Tim Townsend right here. Merritt can't do that shit. That's the shit Merritt can do. And Seahawks just like, so we're just walking away. And now's the point where Battlestone's going to get high and mighty and just like, oh, you just wanted to stay and fight a few more rounds? That's all we've been doing for fucking 5 comics. Why not? And he's like, wasn't it enough that we lost as much as we did? Didn't they win? Awful fucking close-up, whatever the fuck that's supposed to be. And we're going to get some portents for the future. Cabot may have backed down for now. We may have gained ourselves a temporary respite from Bloodstrike aggressions, but we'd be fooling ourselves to think this was the end of it. More to the point, this is just the beginning. Bloodstrike will come after us again, and they're talking about how they've got all sorts of footage integrated now, and they can put that in with their training and really go after Brigade next time. As far as I understand it, Bloodstrike and Brigade do not really fight each other again. There's the Extreme Prejudice crossover in like 6 issues from here, I guess. And I believe Bloodstrike get wiped out in that. And that's about it. And then on a deserted island in the Caribbean, a man walks out of the water and he keeps walking. And then we close up on his face. Not a bad shot of a close-up of a face for Merritt. And the guy's name is Roman. And it is a coincidence that his name is Namor backwards. I'm sure they've addressed that directly, but still. Like, you know, you can come up with something a little bit more interesting, I'm sure. But yeah, that's basically he's Namor / Aquaman / whatever the fuck you like. and we get some battle cries. And this will not be answered by Eric Stevenson, I guess, because he's not the editor on this one. Editor is Kurt Hathaway, who usually does... Yeah, he's the letterer as well. So I guess he finally got sick of answering any kind of fucking questions. He's just like, you talk to these fucking assholes. Answer questions about Battlestone's fucking braids. And the only other question here of any kind of interest is, can Cold Snap still frizzle things? Which is an interesting verb. He can do a lot more than that. I feel like that should have an eyebrow waggle. There's all sorts of double entendres attached with Cold Snap. And then next issue, the arrival of Roman. KO leaves for Japan. Strange allegations about the background of our big ice buddy Cold Snap. Allegations? That word kind of has a different connotation after, like, the Me Too shit, you know? And his bro Seahawk, all in one mag. And they still call them mags. Interesting. You better get it while it lasts. We will not be printing 400,000 copies, I swear to God. And again, Eric Larson writes, Savage Dragon. They felt the need... That's a weird thing to announce, seeing as how he's written every issue of Savage Dragon to this point. Is this a joke? This is a joke at Todd's expense, isn't it? Yeah, okay. I guess this is, yeah, like, I don't need to bring in superstar names to write my shit. Okay. So that was on me, too. And more profit. That's the Blood Brothers crossover. The good news is Bloodstrike gets a lot more interesting for the next few issues. From issues 4 to 6, they're written by Keith Giffen, or at least Keith Giffen is given story notes to whoever's taken over after a couple issues. And they explore more about Bloodstrike trying to deal with being an undead team and actually having a mission where they get, like, annihilated, that kind of stuff. Which seems much more interesting and would have been a better book than pretty much anything Extreme put out at this time. Brigade, I don't know anything about what Brigade does from here. There does seem to be some undersea shenanigans happening soon. So we'll have to catch up with that, I suppose. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications. Go follow me on Twitter. More importantly, go subscribe on Patreon. That's where all these videos go before they get uploaded to YouTube. That's also where all of the Blood Force issues are, as well as any behind the scenes or exclusive stuff. And of course, you can go over and commission something on my Instagram. But yeah, thanks again for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.